See if you can see. Can you see that?
Yeah, I can see that, and we are going live. Good morning, everybody. It's Rick Jansen, and Lee Jennings is out today, but I am really pleased to have a special guest on today, Ann Abernethy with Slifer Smith up in Aspen, Uber Luxury Agent. Good morning, Ann.
Hey, Rick. How are you?
Good. It's so good to see you.
Nice to see you. What a glorious day up in Aspen here. We've got a bluebird day and plenty of snow.
Can't ask for a better combination than that during ski season, right?
Absolutely. It's fantastic.
So for those listeners who might not be familiar with you, can you just give us kind of a little elevator background on who is Ann and why should they listen?
Oh my gosh, I'm old. Where do I start? Well, I started a career in television. I was an on-air television host in New York City and LA years ago. And when I had children, I lived in Los Angeles, and just a bunch of reasons why I started redoing houses. So I would buy properties and improve them and sell them, live in them. I always seemed to have something going. It was a real creative outlet for me. So I did that many, many, many times over a period of many, many, many years. Moved to Montecito where I could raise my kids better. And after they left the nest, and I was an empty nester, I finally decided to get a real estate license in California and in Colorado.
Okay.
So I've owned houses, redone houses, bought and sold houses from 1,200 acres in Virginia to beachfront in Malibu, Beverly Hills, Holmby Hills, Montecito, and Aspen. I've done several in Aspen, so I really love doing that. But all of that adds up to kind of some pretty good experience for buyers and sellers as well.
Yeah, so you've been around the block a couple of times.
Trenches. I was just writing an article. We have a column. Slifer Smith and Frampton has a column called Ask a Broker in the Aspen Daily News. And I was just writing an article very early this morning. And the title is It Ain't Over Till It's Over. And it's all about reining in this very hot, frothy market, reining in sellers and buyers not to do very expensive and costly mistakes based on emotion and not facts.
Yeah. And good morning, everybody. And Matt, I'm looking at the comments. Congratulations on taking a listing yesterday. That's awesome. Let's talk a little bit about that. Like how Aspen must be a super competitive market. What's the average home price up in Aspen these days, or Pitkin County, either way?
Oh my gosh. It's all over the map. I mean, I had a listing that went on last week by a broker that listed it at $6,000 a foot. Woo. So let me give you some big overall market stats that might make more sense.
Sure.
In 2019, our market was about $1.3 billion from Aspen to Glenwood Springs, the entire multi-list. In 2020, it was 2.3, and 21 was 3.2, or actually it was more than that. It was closer to $4 billion. So wow. It's doubled, and then we're on our way to doubling again. So the average price in Aspen is probably, average is a bad word, but maybe $5 or $6 million, and sometimes 11. It depends. Yeah. There's a great big sale. A property, a tear down on Red Mountain on a lot, a very large home, very 90s or even 80s condition. Tear down home and lot next door to it on Red Mountain just sold for $44.5 million. And the same buyer bought a very expensive, same price point kind of property on Red Mountain as well earlier in the year. And, these guys are financial guys coming from hedge fund world, private equity world, sports, professional sports. So we've got some of those. We've got a property on the market right now for $75 million. There's one under contract for the list price is $44, all in Red Mountain. And then I saw today 2 condos that came on the market, each redone for $2.5 million, but the entire building is getting redone. and there's going to be a $400,000 assessment for each unit in that building over the next year. So that kind of gives you a range.
That's a good range. That's a good overview, because like if you go up to Summit County, and I remember there was a condo in Silverthorne, and there were fire sales out of that building because the special assessment was $40,000 per unit, not $400,000 per unit.
I think what's going to happen, this is also not too far from the Gorsuch Hotel development, and this property ski to your door. We don't have many of those here.
Right.
There are in Snowmass Village where we have incredible inventory that's coming online. It's new inventory. The entire Snowmass Village has been redesigned, very family friendly, very kid friendly. Price points are much more reasonable. There were 10 units that stepped up the mountain on Fanny Hill last year, about $10 million each. Those sold out, and they hadn't even come out of the ground. But that price point's a lot better than $25 million.
Yeah, it is.
I think when this whole building gets redone with your $400,000 assessment, I think the whole building is going to be very, very desirable, obviously because of the location. It's right at the base of Lift 1A, which is historical, and there's a lot of development there right now, and there are other properties selling for $8.5 million.
So I imagine, let's talk to the agents out there. You've given us a wonderful overview of Aspen. How does somebody that maybe has less than 5 years of experience, you've been there, you're ingratiated in the community, you have like charity ties, you have community ties, you have a lot of ties. But how does somebody who has like fewer than 5 years of experience get a toehold? Like, how does somebody prospect in the multi-million-dollar average market? That's fascinating to me.
That is a challenge. We have only Aspen, the town, only has about between 7,000 and 8,000 full-time residents. I mean, it bulks up in the summer, of course.
Sure.
And in our whole market, I don't know, they're like 40,000 people. So we have 1,200 agents, brokers, we call them in Colorado, as you know. So I would say this: just do exactly that. If you want to, you have to pick your market, pick the niche you want to be in. If you want to be in the very high-end luxury market, it's very important that you show up in the nonprofit things that they're doing there. That if you have children and you can put them in the Aspen school district, that is probably your best entree to any kind of connection that you could have, because it's such a small town. You know everybody. If you can serve on the board of the Educational Foundation, I did that. I was president of the board in Montecito, and although I was not selling real estate at the time, I was creating inventory, and it was nice that people, I had a reputation there, and I did a ton of nonprofits there. Here, I've done something called Women in Wine, which after this pandemic is over, we're going to get back to, because it was so much fun. And I interview, because I've got television skills, right? I interview outstanding women, host it at a great restaurant, take over the whole thing. And it's just a networking possibility. I set these women up in the beginning to ask people 3 questions, share information, listen to the person who's speaking. It is exactly 1 hour to the minute. And it's just a great way to get to know people. So I think you have to be a little creative. I do a lot of video. I just did 22 videos right before the pandemic, and they never aired. But they're called Inside Snowmass Minutes. My website is Inside Aspen. So this is Inside Snowmass Minutes, 60 seconds with a leader, the best kid ski instructor, the guy that fits the best boots, the entrepreneur I think is the most interesting in that area. And they're just quick little 1-minute things that just shine a spotlight on Snowmass Village. And I'm going to be doing the same thing even in Aspen, because there are lots of a ton of new restaurants, and a lot's changing there right now. So I think you just have to get out in the community and be visible. Gay Ski Week was 2 weeks ago here. The town was absolutely packed. I sat at a booth for Slifer Smith and Frampton, and it cost nothing to do that, but oh my gosh, it was so much fun. And then use social media. They had an Andy Warhol museum that was a party at the museum just for Gay Ski Week. And a friend of mine who ran Gay Ski Week put me on the list, and I got to go, and I was able to use my social media to spotlight that. And these people bring a lot of money into our community. So I think you just have to pay attention to what's going on and be a part of it.
And is that how, like, if a buyer that's going to spend, maybe 5, 6, or even 20 million on a second or third residence in Aspen, are they don't have any ties there, right? When they're first coming in. So are they finding the agents through video? Are they finding the agents because their movie star friend or their athlete friend used the agent? Like, how does an out-of-town buyer find Ann?
Well, if they could find me, I mean, you can go to annabernethy.com or insideaspen.com or just Google Ann Abernethy and it'll come up. I just spent a week with a family from Australia, ultra high net worth family, wonderful, wonderful people, and a delight to work with. So they had even different points of view within the family. Kids had one need, they wanted one kind of property, dad had another. So the way I found them is the old fashioned way. It was through a friend. And really those buyers and sellers, I mean, it kind of comes from your personal relationships, which makes it important just to get out in the community. I am not a big print person. I write an article in the Aspen Daily News, and that's like it's an opinion piece really. So I like that kind of content. I grew up in video. I grew up in television, doing live television. So for me, television is really my language. I think you have to find what your language is and then use it. Use your voice wherever it is. And if you are the best volunteer in the whole world, show up and volunteer. If you're a great skier, get out there and take your clients or friends skiing. Eventually, somebody's going to say, hey, that person knows that person, and why don't you use them?
Yeah. And it is a relationship business, right? And a lot of what you're talking about is getting out and forming new relationships at school, forming new relationships on the board, forming new relationships through the Aspen Daily News or through the Snowmass Minute. I mean, all of those, when you're out there filming a Snowmass Minute, you're shining the spotlight on somebody who they know they have to do video, but they didn't want to do it. They don't know how to do it. They're intimidated by it. They think they have to get a lavalier mic and all this fancy lighting, and they get overwhelmed and they stop. But here you come. Do you bring a crew? Do you bring your cell phone and a tripod?
No,
one person?
That's I need a camera and one person. And, because of my background, I've got sort of a 60-second time clock in my head. It's sort of live TV. You have to know that, right? So I'm able to do a 30 or a 60. And really a 60 gets you like 2 or 3 good sound bites. And that's really all you have to have. And when you're interviewing them, they are very adept at talking about their own business. So you have to listen for the sound bite. And then, try and make it. I mean, I try and keep the editing down for my guys, so I didn't spend that much time doing it. But we just go out on the mountain. We didn't even take any kind of lighting at all. We just went out on the mountain and got in places where it looked very natural and good. And we did 22 of them in one day. So I love that medium. I also I love sitting shoulder to shoulder. I'm on a committee right now with an organization called Lift Up, which is essentially a food pantry from Rifle, which is 60 miles away, to Aspen, even more. And you'd be surprised, there are a lot of people that are hungry right now. Food prices have gone up, gas prices have gone up, and there's a big need in our community. So we're doing a fundraiser, and I'm going to do video and interview the executive director and some of the clients and get their stories so that you hear that this is maybe not forever, but this Lift Up organization got me through a really rough time. And we're going to tell those stories in order to inform and educate our community that there is a need, and here's how you can help.
And these are real people with real problems, right?
These are
I mean,
real-
they're real people who are, they're participants in the community. They have families, and they're just getting priced out.
They are, and it's not just priced out of real estate; it's priced out of how to even go to work. I mean,
Right.
some are commuting is that to find a place to live, they're commuting as far away as Grand Junction, which is like over 2 hours to get to Aspen, like 2.5 hours. So and you'd be surprised, these are not all low income people. I mean, these are physician's assistants or paralegals or somebody that owns a small trade, like an electrician or I mean, the construction has been off the charts here.
Yeah.
So those prices are going up too, but you just never know what's going on in a family, and the demand has gotten greater over the last 2 years for sure. So it's, they called me and saw the other videos, and I have a very good friend who's another broker in a different company on the board. And she said, Ann, would you just come and do this with us? And then as it turns out, I'm on the party committee. I've done a lot of entertaining. So on the party committee, anything creative, I'll jump into and enjoy doing as well.
Yeah. And you're giving back, which is awesome. But through giving back, people see that you have a generous heart, that you're a go-getter, that you dot the I's and cross the T's, right? And they're going to see, like, this is someone who I could trust with my $20 million home. I'm not selling a big asset.
It certainly gives you a common ground to introduce somebody into the community, not just lift up, of course, but just know. I mean, that's why I named my website Inside Aspen, because if you don't, nobody has to do this alone, right? I think of myself as the guide to find your way home. So if this is your home, if you want it to be your home, or you're trying to strategize to get yourself into another area because of family or health or whatever the reason is, you don't have to do it alone. It can be very complicated. And the point is to connect. And if you're a new broker, to go into the community and make connections. Connect with people, not just show up, but actually engage with them, talk with them, reach out with emails, take someone to coffee, have lunch. And I guess the one thing I would say, and that I do, is this: if people text you or call you or send you an email, try and get back with them in a couple of hours. Don't let 12 hours go by, for whether it's another broker, your boss, someone who works for you, your videographer, or a buyer or a seller. It's just common courtesy. And I think that will separate you. Good manners always work.
Good manners always work. Yeah. My mentors, Tim and Julie Harris, just did a podcast on that. They went like 2 or 3 episodes just talking about professional courtesy. Like just the fact that it's been lost, the fact that it's slipping, just the common decency things that set you apart as a professional. A lot of what we talk about on this show is trying to get people out of the 80% and into the 20% that does the 80% of the work, right? And it makes 80% of the income. And you can get out of the 80 into the 20 with very small steps.
Little things. So I have to tell you a little story. Last week when these out of country people were here, they wanted to see a particular property, and the biggest volume Aspen, Colorado broker had the listing. It was off market. I dug it up. It was an expired. And this is so good. So I'm always up at 5 a.m. and I get most of my work done, a lot of emails, a lot of thoughts, a lot of planning, writing. I do all that by now. Like I'm finished with that. Now I can go out in the world today and go to meetings and showings and whatever. I emailed him at 5:10 a.m. He emailed me back in about 90 seconds. And I was trying to get into the house. He did it himself, and he's got a huge staff, but they are a well-oiled machine. They are such a team. And he answered the email. They always answer email. And the same thing with very important high net worth clients. They got there because they were paying attention. They have that money because they're paying attention to money. So you need to respect their money. You know, just because they're rich doesn't mean they're going to throw it away.
No, they didn't get rich by wasting it.
And really respect their time, even more than, I mean, time. Do not waste their time. There's some education that has to go on with them that will be valuable. And they may say to you, why are you even sending this to me? This is crazy. Well, why is because look at the price per foot and look at this, the quality of this listing. I know this is not what you want. So either you're trying to raise their expectations, lower them, or make them optimally realistic, right? So that they really get a good picture of it. Yeah. But those people command a lot of respect and a lot of attention and hand holding, but you will find you will learn the most from them as well.
Well, and they're used to having executive assistants, managers kind of do their bidding, right? And they are the visionaries at that level, and they have people that execute for them. And when they hire an agent, I imagine they're hiring someone to execute for them, right, at a very high level. Your job is to tee up an experience and say yes or no.
Well, and it's family management too. You've got to really relate to where they are. You know, who are they? Are they a single parent? Are the kids in college? Are the kids, did somebody just have a baby? I'm leaving town to go visit my family because my nephew just had his first child. And by the way, here's what I would tell everybody. Every rite of passage in life starts it results, I should say, in a real estate deal. My nephew and his wife were in a townhouse. They were working on a house, on another house, and she got pregnant. Everything changed, right? Now there's a baby. Now what's their primary driver? Great house for a baby, must have a yard, sidewalks are perfect, but moreover, and probably more important than anything, good school district. So they moved from a very gentrified, very hip, very singles area. They both are doing very well in Dallas. And they're executives, and life changes overnight. So with that all, you've got to really listen and hone in on where they are.
I once had a coach. He had so many people say, oh, if you know anyone buying or selling, your referral is the greatest compliment. And they kind of somewhere that line stuck with everybody. But this coach had something different. He said, your friends don't know if someone's buying or selling, but what they do know, he said, ask, hey, who do you know is getting pregnant, getting divorced, moving in state, out of state, getting promoted, getting demoted, just got fired, just got a baby, just had a shoe collection, or just bought a dog and needs a yard? Who first comes to mind?
Different question.
Big pregnant pause of who first comes to mind, because now you're not searching for who wants to buy a home. You're searching for, oh, wait, yeah, I remember. I just saw Susie got pregnant, or just Luke just got engaged, or bam, bam, bam. Oh, great. Would you mind introducing me? It's such an honor to help them. But those are all rites of passage.
It is. It changes everything. Just think about it. You go to college, you graduate, get your first apartment, right? Mm-hmm. First job. Then shortly after you get a promotion, then you meet somebody, you fall in love. Oh my gosh, now we've got to have a place for two people. What's that going to look like? Then you have a baby. That changes everything. Then the baby gets raised, they go to college, you're empty nesters, and you say, gee, we don't need all these bedrooms. And then you say, well, where are we going to go? And this is a good one, especially for Aspen, Colorado. We hear this a lot. Well, we want to buy here because our kids are grown and they have grandchildren. We want a place so they'll come see us. We know we don't want to be irrelevant grandparents. We want to be hands-on, but we want to be where we have fun too. Mm-hmm. So I say our market has something for every single age. You could start your kids skiing at 18 months old, grandchildren. The Aspen Institute, the Aspen Ideas Fest, or just music festival. We've got so much going on culturally that many markets don't have. So yeah, I mean, those are the drivers and the demographics. Now, the largest transfer of wealth that will ever happen is going to in the next 10 or 20 years with, baby boomers transferring wealth to their kids and then their kids buying homes, right? All this money is going to hit the market. But now the one thing that's different is that everybody can work anywhere, anytime. And all these jobs are remote. So everybody's looking at, well, where am I going to have the most fun while I work? Aspen will do that for you. The entire Roaring Fork Valley, fishing down valley is gold medal. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Well, Ann, we've run out of time because I know you've got busy meetings all day. Thank you so much for being a guest on the show. It's just an honor to have you on, and it's always so much fun to just see you and talk with you and learn from you.
You too.
If people want to reach Ann, insideaspen.com. All her contact information is there. She is a video queen. You can learn a lot by just studying what she does. Mirror her, be her.
Oh,
and,
no. And listen, if you want to, just for fun,
yeah,
I launched this vlog called Beyond Badass. Beyond Badass, how fierce women get it done. And I've interviewed 8 amazing women. They are so accomplished in every single different kind of way. So you can go to my website, get the link. You can go to YouTube Inside Aspen, and we're going to continue with that because these gals have done so much. And then I'm going to do how fierce men get it done and how fierce kids get it done, because we've got some Olympians around here, right now.
Nice. Well, Ann Abernethy definitely is beyond badass. And thank you so much for being on the show today. Have a great day, everybody.
Good to see you.